Welcome back. You are still watching Morning Live. We now get into our final sport bulletin on this Tuesday morning. Now, Bryan Gary Habana has won every major accolade there is to win in the world of rugby. Many will argue that the pinnacle of these awards was being a Springbok Centurion and winning the 2007 Rugby World Cup. Bryan has a very busy life after rugby, and one of his initiatives is an exciting opportunity to give a sports fan the opportunity of a lifetime. Bryan joins us now virtually. A very good morning, Gary. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Lee. Bryan Gary Habana of the Manchester United Legends. Never thought I'd actually not end up playing soccer, but good to have the rugby bug bite me.
And that's very interesting. Let's speak about what other bugs have bit you, because we look at you and your love for the sport of golf. You play golf, you've traveled around the world to watch golf, and now you have a very interesting partnership that gives a sport lover the opportunity of a lifetime. Tell us more.
So Stinger GC, part of the live golf environment that has obviously positively disrupted the game of golf, but doing so in a really incredible way. And ahead of their launch of their documentary Green and Gold on the 14th of December, we saw what Chasing the Sun did for rugby. And hopefully, Green and Gold will do pretty much the same for what we see. And in the Light It Up challenge, we are gonna be asking South Africans around the world to join a very exclusive watch party ahead of the premiere on the 14th, on the 7th of December, where we're asking people to do something very South African: chip a golf ball into a braai. Obviously, avoiding putting any fires actually on, but creating a little bit of fanfare ahead of the documentary being launched, and in so doing, just getting South Africans rallying behind the Live Golf Stinger GC team ahead of also what's going to be a phenomenal Live Golf tournament happening in South Africa in 2026.
And I mean, we've already seen the challenge blowing up on social media. I think I saw Michael Morton giving it a go as well. And it's just merging all the different sporting codes. But speak to me about the importance of choosing the right partners to work with, and why South African golf lovers should be excited about Live Golf, specifically being in South Africa.
If you look firstly at the Stinger GC team, between major winners Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Swartsel, Dean Burmester and Brandon Brace have come on and really put South African golf on the map in an environment within Live Golf that talks potentially to a new generation, where there's music on a golf course, talks to these very young Gen AI generations, where there's music, there's fanfare, there's noise. A lot of times you watch major championships and there's dead silence. Now all of a sudden, to see players walking around in shorts, to see the music pumping and the engagement, the likes of Bryson DeChambeau have just taken the engagement within golf to a whole new level. And I think for me, firstly being extremely proud to be South African, seeing how well the Stinger GC team has been doing on the world stage, but their interactions, their banter on social media, and the way they encapsulate so much that is good about South Africa. I think Louis Oosthuizen and his very dry sense of humor. But I think as a contingent, what the Live Golf team have achieved, in not only winning championships, getting into the top three, but as individuals making things really exciting for a game of golf perspective. It is summertime, which means South Africans can get onto golf courses, which are some of the best in the world across our country. But through the Stinger GC Greens and Gold documentary, being able to really showcase what this team has gone through and able to put themselves on the global stage, and how through their team cohesion, very much like what we see currently with the Springboks, how they've been able to show everything that's good about South Africa.
I absolutely love that, and it's very interesting, everything that you talk about. And we love the prize purse out at Live Golf tournaments. But Bryan, let's talk about, I cannot have you on this interview and not get an opportunity to speak some rugby with you. I know today's supposed to be all about golf, but when you look at the space that South African rugby is in at the moment, and I want to touch on the wingers specifically, because what a daunting task for only having a selection of two that can don the green and gold at a time.
Yeah.
I want to touch on Magazala Mabimpi and the fact that we see him approaching his 50th test, and what an inspiration he's been for so many South Africans.
I mean, there's just so much you can say about Magazala Mabimpi. I think to become the first ever Springbok rugby player to score a try in a Rugby World Cup final back in 2019, and the manner in which he did it, I think the true inspiration that he is for so many people who potentially come from nothing. I got to work with Makazole a few years ago in a campaign where we sort of documented his story, and being able to hear personally his own journey, walking 10 kilometers to school in the morning, 10 kilometers back home, at the end of every day, just to get a bit of an education. But to see what rugby has given him, and we saw in Chasing the Sun how emotional Rassie Erasmus got when speaking about Makazole Mapimpi and him only having his own picture on the back of his jersey because there was no one else in his life. And to see the levels that he's got to, and I think it was unfortunate that he missed out on this autumn series where, unfortunately he got subpoenaed off the field and, wasn't able to join the team. And, being able to play one test for your country is amazing. To be on the precipice of potentially playing 50 test matches for your country, his prize scoring ratio is phenomenal. And the inspiration that he is for, so many people in South Africa is brilliant. And I think we're all holding thumbs, crossing fingers and toes that, he will hopefully get to that 50th test next year. What Rassie Erasmus has done with the squad is amazing. And to your point, the collection of wingers at the minute and the competition for places is something that's really tough. And with the likes of Cheslin Colby, Kirtley Arnsworth, Kanan Moody had a phenomenal game this past weekend. So it might be tough for Makazole to get back in, but if anything, he has that fighting spirit to make sure that he can push on and get that 50th Test cap.
Indeed. And Bryan, you speak about others being an inspiration. You speak about Cheslin, you speak of a Cannon. You yourself are an inspiration, and thank you so much for inspiring the whole generation that we're currently actually seeing now, and we know you'll still continue to inspire future generations. And a massive thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me, Bea. Have a blessed day further.
Thank you, Bryan. Same to you. That is Bryan Habana, legendary former Springbok rugby player, talking all things at this time around golf. That's where we'll leave it in terms of your sport news for today, right here on Morning Live.